Yeah, what I'm doing is Leopold Pospisil, this anthropologist, did an analysis of the Kapauku, Papuan economy, and he labeled it primitive capitalist. And I'm doing a Marxist critique of his analysis, and then taking Gaudelier's Marxist structuralist framework, and trying to reanalyze the society with it. After that, I got another term paper to do.
The process of coming here was growing up somewhat. I sort of felt that college, well, all my life I've expected to go to college after high school. It just seemed natural for me to go ahead and live here without my parents around or my brothers.
Well, you have the usual first few days of homesickness, first few days of I don't know anyone here, and that kind of thing. But looking back on, you say I've been here a month. It seems like I've been here a lot longer than a month in that I feel at home. This is my home.
Right now, I'm going to try to immerse myself into it, and I'll see where that takes me for a while. And then once I have a better idea of what Amherst has to offer, then I think I can decide more easily on what I want to get out of it.
The important thing to remember in a course like Chemistry 11 is that it builds upon itself. That is, if you don't understand something that has been covered in the first week, you're going to need to understand that later on in the course. If you take and plot, for example, output as measured by grades, all right, on our exams, as a function of time, here's the first grade, here's the second grade, here's the third grade, and there's the final. Right? That's easily explained. At least the last bit is easily explained, because if you remember, Samuel Johnson once wrote in a letter to Boswell, "Depend on it, sir, when a man knows he is to be hanged in a fortnight, it concentrates his mind wonderfully." Right? The important thing is you will get out of the course as much as you put into it, and you'll get out of the course as much as you are aggressive in your pursuit of having questions answered. Now, a lot of you are looking around at each other and are going to say at the first section meeting when somebody says, or in this lecture when somebody says something that is absolutely unclear because of the inarticulateness of the lecturer, because of God knows what reason, you're going to say, I'm not going to ask a question. They're all going to think I'm dumb.
When I came here, I was in that mode. I was already questioning and things like that. I think that Amherst College made me question things a bit more. I'm not necessarily sure that that's due to the nature of the curriculum as much as it is due to the nature of the people who are here. Because there are people here that really do question things, and there are people here who go through 4 years without doing anything, other than just, they come here with the idea of becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer, or as 30% of the freshman class wanted to be, they'd like to become judges. There was a poll on that. I think it's kind of crazy. But they come through and that's all they want to do.
I think probably a lot of it has to do with my upbringing, the fact that I've been raised to believe that a well-rounded person, a person who shuts any door at all, is shutting themselves off from education or experience. And that's why I don't want to make any commitment, because it would be a great personal loss to me if I didn't act as well as paint, as well as take, French or something, or math. It's got to be everything.
When I came to Amherst, it was kind of a 50-50 choice whether I'd do music or become a doctor, or become anything else. I was going to become either a doctor, a psychiatrist, or an anthropologist. And I took Psych 11, and that did it. And then I loved anthropology, and I took a lot of that. But I finally centered on music. For me, the most powerful thing at this college is a stigma against it's not against being different exactly, but you're expected somehow to fit into a sort of vague set of characteristics. And musicians tend to be kind of loony in a sense. They tend to be offbeat a little bit. I'm not sure why. They're kind of open in a certain way, and it means that they like certain things and have a certain attitude towards fun. Amherst asks something a little bit different. Amherst asks for an image of a man, you know, who's quote-unquote together.
All right, I think we can, and if we'll all go out there and play and give our individual best, I know we can. All right? I know we can. Let's go now. Come on.
Well, I hope to be drafted in either the football or baseball draft this spring, perhaps both, I'm not sure. And depending on the offers or the opportunities that open up, I could conceivably be playing either one next year. I think for a lot of people who play sports, it's a type of a dream. It's something that you hope maybe you'll get the chance. I by no means decided that was going to be my future when I came here. If I had, I probably wouldn't have come here in that sense. If I had decided that sports was what I wanted, I would have tried to pick a school that would have, been the best for that. It might have been a possibility at that time in my mind, but it was only that. There were a lot of other things, and still are a lot of other options available that sports will enhance. Freddie Scott, for instance, is playing with the Colts, and he's attending med school in the off season. I think Gene Fugit, who's with the Washington Redskins, I think he's attending law school. I'm not sure. Doug Swift played with Miami Dolphins, and he took pre-med courses and then later retired to go on to med school. Sports, to me, would be just a heck of a way to spend some years, the young years of my life when I'm able to participate in something like this. And I don't look upon it as my life, as a lifelong career, but really as an enjoyable way of spending some years, and also as in part a vehicle, for helping me in what I want to do after, whether it be grad school, whether it be a business, whether it be anything really. It really won't hurt in that sense, and it'll be an awful lot of fun at the same time.
The goal, rather than the goal being to think hard about something and find out how that fits in your scheme of things. And if it doesn't fit in your scheme of things, confronting that problem and reworking what you've learned in the classroom. Instead, the goal seems to be just to sort of gather all these talents, be socially poised, a little athletic or a lot athletic, depending. Know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and that's the success.
I was going to be a doctor since I was about 4 years old, and old Dr. Avey, who's now, God knows, 80 years old, was holding me on his lap and giving me a shot. And I was so pissed off, because I just hated needles. But I liked Dr. Avey, so I wanted to be a doctor. Unfortunately, it took me about 2 years to figure I did not know what I wanted to do at college. And I kind of consider that I missed 2 years of college life in doing that. And I think that's a problem with a lot of people. They come here knowing what they want to do when they get out, and they don't know what they want to do at college. I do look at what other people are getting. I have friends of mine who are getting A's and A minuses, who will spend from 5:30 every day after pre-med dinner till 11 o'clock or 11:30 in the psych library. I can't do that. But it doesn't particularly concern me, because I figure I do well because I want to do well and because I want to get into med school. I mean, what other people do is of no particular concern to me, because it's not going to have any bearing as to whether I get into med school or not. Amherst is nice that way, unlike a lot of other schools, because 70, 80, I think 85% of the pre-med students here will get into med school anyway. So, you know, you're not fighting against your fellow classmates. You're fighting against yourself. And I mean, that's the way it should be. Although, when you look around at the people who are getting A's and A minuses in Orgo and Biochem, and you think, well, in 6 years I may end up going to them as a doctor, it's scary. I mean, there's some people that just have no conception of what it is to be human. I mean, it's almost that bad. The personality type is one which does not know how to talk to people and get along with a fairly broad spectrum of people. And you've got to look at it as a function of how much work people are doing. They have too much goddamn work to sit around and talk.
The person in the classroom is really separated from the private person. You have sort of, you know, a classroom about a particular subject, a group of particular students go in there, and they are, for that 50 minutes or hour and a half, economics students. And that has nothing to do, for most people, with what they are outside that classroom. It's just from class to class. I mean, a real drastic shift between intellectual activity and personal experience and social experience.
It seemed like when I first came here, the freshmen women and men were, you know, pretty close. They were all enthusiastic about beginning school, and everyone was out trying to make friends. And then as time progressed, it seemed like the attitudes of the older men at the college kind of filtered down to the freshmen, and you no longer like saw them as much. The men, it seemed to go away because it was maybe easier to have a casual relationship with a woman who wasn't as nearby, because you wouldn't have the time, being a student, to you know, see her every evening or anything like that. I heard one man, I guess, speak, he was I guess a junior or something, which really amazed me. He said that, like, trying to rationalize why it was better to have to have a girlfriend or whatever who went to another school, because you didn't have to see them at breakfast in the morning. Like, it was, you have a nice evening and all, but then you don't have to see them at breakfast on, at Monday morning or something. Of course, although you always see all various women from other places on, Sunday brunches. The guys feel very proud of themselves, it seems, as they sneak in this woman.
Your tickets. Oh, thank you, Rep. Tickets, please. Thank you very much. Close over to the left. Welcome to the casino. Yes, honey, it's Amherst College's biggest social event of the year. The tickets. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Like you did.
Americans have usually believed that no one should be held back, discriminated against, or advantaged by inheritance, by one's parents' successes or failures, by laws which favor some at the expense of others. Each person, the argument goes, has the right to be judged solely in terms of what he has made of himself, of what he has achieved, not by his religion, his race, or his sex. Inequalities, in other words, have been justified in American history when it can be shown that they result primarily from the achievements or failings of particular individuals.
Being at Amherst, I became more aware of the dynamics involved in interracial encounters. Okay, I was more aware of my collective responsibility. I never saw myself as an individual per se. You know, I don't think there is any such animal as a minority who is an individual, because I had gone through that kind of a phase earlier, about early junior high school, 7th, 8th grade, where I said, well, I'm not going to be, you know, being in a predominantly white situation and, you know, feeling that burden of my ethnic, you know, responsibility. I said, well, I won't be black. I'll be an individual. And I tried being an individual. And it doesn't work because you're constantly reminded. You constantly ask, well, what do blacks think about this? What do, you know, they're perceiving you as a black student, as a black person. And you're always told that, you know, a racial slur, you know, little comments here and there, and you're constantly looked to for a reaction.
Here I find that I'm very conscious of being a woman, and it's not anything like, it's nothing really blatant, but it's very, you know, you're the pioneers, you're the ones who have to do things here, and that's why I came here. I wanted to be, you know, a pioneer in a place like this. I felt that would be really healthy. But there are a lot of tensions underneath, kind of running under everything, and some women don't notice them at all. Some women are very happy here, but a lot of women, especially upper-class women who've been here for longer, and the whole freshman aura is kind of worn off, and they're down to the reality of what Amherst really is, they find it a little bit harder. And I think the thing that bothers me the most is just the complete unawareness of people of any sort of ideas of sexism. You know, it's like some of it is between students will be, you know, pretty blatant. It'll always be kind of on a joking level, but you know, she's a girl and stuff like that. And I find that very offensive, and a lot of people will just laugh it off and go on.
Sorry on the dotted line. Yeah, really.
No, who do you guys let into this fraternity?
We take anybody that wants us. There's getting fewer people. Very few. We're going downhill, but we see a sudden uptrend in our future. There's been a lot of athletes admitted this year.
No, talk about our
We take any good solid American as long as he's not Polish, Italian, black, Puerto Rican, you know.
As long as he doesn't have any ethnic.
Semi-white, you know, anybody.
No, tell them about our reputation. It's pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
Rude, crude, and socially unacceptable.
There was a rumor going around that we had like the second best team on campus, but
it's first now.
It's first. I'm sorry.
After last semester.
Yes, after last semester, I did get that A- in
As long as he's not Polish, Italian.
How about the female view?
Yeah, how come you didn't take
That never came up.
Is that okay?
Really? You never came up for a vote.
Hey, be serious for this film here.
Women in DU?
No one ever brought that up.
They brought it up. They brought it up all the time.
I mean, we could let Chris say a few
But they
words.
got laughed at.
That's enough.
That's a good point, yeah, right there.
That's about the amount of communication we need from women at this school.
Yeah, they're useless, yeah. There's a place in the world for an all-male institution. Guys join DU for the chance of being around with all their friends and having a good time and not having to worry about being acceptable to females and worrying about female points of view, etc. And I know a lot of my friends join DU for the exact point of coming to DU and having a good time without having to worry about impressing girls, etc., etc.
I think one of the greatest things is
It's like home. It's not like.
Come on, Jim. What? Later. No, I think one of the best things is just like everyone has their doors open. Well, in this place anyway, everyone has their doors open. Just walk in and start talking to somebody else. It's not at all sterile. It's really like a family type atmosphere.
You do form a little culture, as it is. You get your own lingo, your own slang.
And you
own
just,
attitude.
you just like, ragging everybody, everyone gets this nickname, everyone gets ragged on, everyone feels like part of something.
That's the rag.
You don't get lost in the shuffle. Even Cahill doesn't get lost, this kid. We just call him Cahill. He doesn't get lost,
Where is he?
Cahill, I really don't know, but
in the library, where else?
No, but like that, everyone has an identity within the fraternity, when you're just living in a dorm, sometimes you can lose that, you just like, you go to class every day, you come back, and you go to work,
What I mean by people missing the experience is more people avoiding the kind of conflict and the confrontations that this time in your life and being with, meeting new people, having exciting courses, reading all kinds of things invite, that people tend to, or I tend to, run away from those confrontations.
Sorry.
Why didn't you get into SIU? Well, my friend was, for a long time, pretty sure he was going to go to Phi Del, all right? Because he knew a lot of the people there and liked them. He got known to the place, but then he found out exactly, what group of people were going to end up from this year's class. From that, he decided not to go there. And by that time, it was a little late to get into the full swing at SIU.
I didn't think Rush was all that bad, but as somebody pointed out to me, I got 2 bids, so for me, it wasn't bad, but there were people that didn't get any bids. And then there were people that didn't get the bids from the frats where they wanted them. You really have to define your friendships, which is something I've never done before. You have to, you're planning your future for next year, and it doesn't seem like it should be that big a deal that a lot of people got upset, just because you have to decide who you want to live with, and then you have to see whether it works out, whether the people that you want to live with get in the same place you do, and a lot of people didn't get in where their friends got in. And I couldn't choose between the friends, and so I just said, forget the people, just look at the house. And I wasn't going to stay up all Saturday or Friday night and decide. It was a cop-out, I know, and it was pretty selfish, but I saw too many people getting really upset about it, and I just really didn't want to do that. And so I just chose where I wanted to live.
Part of the problem with Amherst College is that it's geared toward involvement rather than commitment. And I'm not necessarily sure that that's due to the liberal arts curriculum, but I think it may be partly due to that, because things like looking at the college, looking at ourselves, and talking about a lot of things kind of diffuses the energy or the emotions that are behind the kind of thing that you need to make a commitment. There's pig and chicken on the island. They have to decide what they're going to eat, right? There's nothing to eat. So the chicken says, well, let's have ham and eggs. Right? The pig thinks about it for a while and says, listen, he said, for you, that's involvement. For me, that's commitment. And I think that sums up very neatly the difference between those two terms. And I think that any issue can be discussed, but not all issues can be acted on.
Next person who will speak will be Carl Seidman. Carl is a member of the South African Support Committee and has been in the forefront of our struggle here.
Between October and the trustee meeting that's taking place this weekend, we appeal to the trustees to reconsider our demands and to hold an open meeting in front of the full college community where their policy could be discussed fully. They refused to do that at this meeting and instead organized an informal luncheon.
I see it more as an issue that can get students at Amherst and students and other people around the country actively involved in questioning the role that U.S. corporations play and the role that the American government is playing. And, you know, I do see it part of an anti-imperialist type of struggle, but also part of a sort of consciousness-raising activity, you know, that I think like a lot of people in the U.S., you know, should be involved in. There were a lot of Amherst students there. I mean, probably not as many as we would have liked to have seen, and probably not as many as there were non-Amherst students there. But I don't know, I think demonstrations tend to be foreign to Amherst students. They don't necessarily see the importance of it or the influence or impact it's going to have. And it was a very cold day, and you know, the fact that standing outside for 2 hours in the cold would really be worthwhile, would really achieve something, is pretty foreign to students here. You know, political activity to the extent that people partake in it, and Amherst is writing a letter to your congressman or something like that. People don't really take an active role in politics. Part of it is I think a lot of people haven't really thought the things out and don't really see a role for themselves in it or try and understand what their role should be in it. You know, they sort of become resigned. You know, they're sort of concerned, but they're willing to let other people do the fighting for them if they really haven't thought it out. I think one of the biggest problems is that of the sort of pre-professionalism is that you see Amherst as only a means to an end, and you're going to be at Amherst for 4 years, and then you're going to leave. So its importance to you is its ability to secure you a place in grad school or secure you a job afterwards. So you're not really that concerned about changing the college or fighting for something while you're at the college, and that's really a problem. The other thing may be if you're super anxious about your ability to succeed, you don't even want to spend the time that it takes to involve yourself in political stuff.
I don't know whether it's the curriculum or whether it's just the environment, but for some reason there isn't a lot of bearing of oneself around here. Things are discussed, and things are discussed in a very good way. I mean, there are a lot of interesting things that are said, and a lot of moving things are said, but they don't allow, or it's not an environment that's extremely conducive to people making the kind of self-identification with what they're talking about, and with that self-identification, the possibility for real commitment.
They had a commitment level to a play which far exceeded what I had expected. You know, during the course of a lot of performances and a lot of rehearsals, you come in, you do your work, and you leave. Here, because they evolved as actors and as performers, one, and also as an understanding of the play grew and realized that it was very, very autobiographical, there became a stronger affinity and a stronger relationship that we had as cast members. See that sympathy in there, okay? You got to hear that.
I ran into Ed over at a Smith today.
Yeah. Did he give you that note?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good.
He told me about, no, I haven't been around that way.
Mm-hmm.
That
too.
The song has jumped.
Yeah, the song has got to jump off your lips. It's got to move, you know. You've got to get out there and y'all got to cook, you know. You can't remember. You can't bring anything down. Remember, the first scene moves very, very slowly. If y'all come out and your song is like, then that's not going to work. You got to get off, y'all. Got to cook. The idea initially came, it was something totally different. It was originally a play about a father and a son, and the father was part of the working class, and the son was trying to find himself outside of the relationship of his father. I was called home in May. After
after I was in an acting class, and I was called home in May on an emergency that said that my father was dying of cancer. As I got home, being a writer, being just a feeling kind of person, the nature of what I was writing changed, and now all my writing was really being reflective in terms of my life, in relationship to his, in terms of a whole life-death dichotomy, in terms of what does it really mean to be here, and what is the ultimate purpose of your life, and how is that reflected in terms of like other people being sons, people who you touched during the course of your lifetime. And that's how the nature of it changed. It became more something that emanated organically from my experience and was translated on paper and then subsequently on stage.
Watch out. Here I come.
Let me walk behind you, Walker.
Have the turn you want, say. One step at a time. Here she goes. Come on, baby. One step at a time. Come on, baby. Fall back. Come on. Do it good now.
Easy now.
Watch me now, Sicky. I'm cooking with gas now, baby. Come on, Bob. Come on, baby.
Take your time, baby. Take your time. You don't have to rush.
Sicky, these little steps couldn't hardly be called rushing. Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob, you walked the hell out of them steps, man. Walking always has been a strong.
When he finally died, which is when the play finally came together, which is a strange way of looking at it, but I mean, the final chapter almost had been written as when he died. And his last line, a lot of the dialogue came directly from our experience, from the kinds of things we said. His last line before he went into a coma, he went into a coma on a Friday and died on the following Tuesday. His last line was, "I'm so tired. I'm just so tired," which is how we really ended this play.
I won a Rhodes Scholarship for 2 years to go study in Oxford, and it'll really be I look at it as a break, as a chance to really kind of study what I want to study and learn more about the world and the kind of things that you talk about when you talk about liberal arts. It's an extension of liberal arts for 2 more years, with the added attraction of being able to travel around Europe and do things like that. But as far as saying, well, I'm going to go to law school after that or whatever, I don't know.
A lot of the values that this place purports are not conducive to my development. But in a larger sense, I don't know that there's an escape. I don't know that the entire society is this way.
Now it's all over, and I sort of see these fleeting faces and people that I never, talked to long enough, or things I never thought hard enough about. But my feelings about graduation are very personal. It's painful for me because of some of the things I've said, that I feel like I missed people, that we just somehow missed. And so it's kind of sad.